in the series of tips and techniques on how to store your dies. It is Tuesday, February 7th, 2023. If you missed last week's video, go out on YouTube to my channel and you can search it. We're going to go over how another way I store my dies. And this is my host code for this month, for the month of February. You can go out to my blog at SusieQStamping.com and get all the information on how to order from me. If you don't currently have a demonstrator, I would love to be your Stampin' Up! Demonstrator to help you with all of your paper crafting needs. Okay, so let's get started. Funny story, I had done a video, recorded it, I thought, and I hadn't. So now we're doing it again. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to start out with a half a sheet of cardstock. Now what I use is discontinued cardstock, or you could just use plain white cardstock. And I use cheap white cardstock for this project, and I get it usually at Target, simply because I don't want to use my good Stampin' Up! Thick white, because you don't need that. But sometimes I want to have my dies colored. So what I'm going to do first is I always choose my die set. And I usually try to do this when I first purchase my dies so that I don't have to go back and try to do all the old ones. However, I'm still working at this, so I am doing older ones. So this one here is the Meadow dies that I'm going to do because I don't have them die cut to store. So I lay all my die cuts out on a piece of 5.5 by 8.5 piece of paper. And I can fit as many dies as I can on one piece, because we're not keeping the outline of it. I don't know, can I get this one on there? Nope, that one might have to be done on another one. We do have a couple of little butterflies that we have, and we've got two little pieces that I think these just emboss on the end of our label, but we're going to check it out and see. And this die set actually has 13 dies. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Looks like I may be missing a couple of dies from this set. That's okay, we'll find them. I've got one that is hanging around here on my desk that I don't know where it goes, but it might be in this one. All right, so I've laid this out on my Stampin' Cut and Emboss plates. So you'll want to use plate number 4. I'm sorry, plate number 1, plate number 2, and then 2 of the clear plates. And sometimes if your dies don't want to stay put, you might need to use a little bit of the either washi tape or the frog tape. I have a Post-it tape that I use. Let's see if I can fit this one there. I might be able to fit another die on this one. There we go. So I've got most of them all on here, and I'm going to squeeze them real tight in my plates. And then this is my cut and emboss machine. And we're going to run all of these through at one time. All right, and this will give you a good idea. I think I've got a couple more. Like I said, I've got one die that's just been kind of hanging around on my desk, and I think it belongs to this set. before I take those out. Once I get them cut out, then what I do is I will take that cheap white cardstock and I will cut it at 5 by 7 inches. So this is 8.5, so I need to cut off 1.5 inches of this. And that way this piece will fit into my envelope to store them, or it will also fit into one of the clear stamp cases that Stampin' Up! Sells. So remove all of the dies from my plates. That leaves me with all of the dies that we'll punch out. And like I said, you can use discontinued Stampin' Up! Paper. It gives you a little bit more weight for your die cuts, but you don't have to. You can use the inexpensive white cardstock that you can get at Walmart or Target. And we have a couple that got left on our plates. One reason why I like to do it with the color is because it just kind of gives me color. I don't know, I like color. All right, so once I have them all die cut out, then what I will do is make sure that all the little bits are out of it. And then I'll start arranging them on my piece of paper so that I can get as many on one side as I possibly can. And it doesn't matter whether they go up or down, because all you're doing is laying them down to see what they look like. This I'm using my Take Your Pick tool to poke out those little pieces. My Take Your Pick tool is my favorite tool for doing little bitsy works like this. And I do believe that if you're organized, it makes stamping more fun. If you know kind of where your supplies are at, and you don't have to do a big search and find mission when you go to make a card. Because I know a lot of us have tons and tons of product. And like I said, if you do this when you first get your dies, then it's not a big job. But when you have to go back, or you want to go back and do this to all your old sets, it can be quite daunting. But if you just take an hour every week or so and do it, then eventually they will all be done and you will have everything that's uniformed for you. Okay, let's see if we can fit there's this little one here that can go there. Our butterfly can go up there, and that butterfly, and then our two little pieces. And then all I have left is just my labels. And because these are intricate little pieces, I'm going to use my multi-purpose glue and my silicone mat. And I'm just going to start, and I'm not going to necessarily tack down everything. I'm just going to put some glue on the back pieces. Now, if you wanted to, you could use the adhesive sheets to do this, but that to me would be a waste of adhesive sheets when the glue will hold these good enough to just give you what they look like once they're cut out. Sometimes you can't tell if a die has a shadow die or if it's a full die. So by doing this, I find that I can actually see what the shape looks like. So this one's going to go right up there in the corner. So depending on the size and the number of dies will depend on how many 5x7 pieces you'll need to stick them down to. And they can be fairly close together because, like I said, I just want to be able to see what the die looks like when it's cut out. So that I kind of know, this is a long vine. As my daughter calls these weeds. I think they look like wild flowers. Sometimes these real skinny ones, I do use my tweezers to pick them up with. You do want to make sure that they're not going to stick over the edge. So you'll have to just kind of place them down there. But since I started doing this, I really do like the way it organizes. And if I keep them stored in one of the Stampin' Up! Stamp cases that you can purchase, then I can put that right next to my stamp set so that I can always tell which stamp set has dies to match. Last week I kind of went over the shape dies with you and how I label those so that I know which one is the biggest one. Because sometimes it's kind of hard to tell when you're working on a project. So if you are new to my channel, click the subscribe button and YouTube will notify you when I have a new video uploaded. If you like this idea, give me a thumbs up. I am trying to obtain some goals this year of growing my channel with different videos. So there's my big butterfly, my little butterfly. We'll go right there. And then these are the two little pieces that will go inside of the labels. And it is very frustrating when you misplace a die. Okay, let me double count these. Yep, sure enough, I am missing two dies, but I'm going to find those now that I know I'm missing them. Seeing if you don't organize your dies. Oh, there they are. Here's two more dies. So I have these three to cut to put on this yet. And again, I'm just using, I can probably fit these three little tiny dies on the scrap that I had originally cut from. We're just going to put this back in here. Don't think my label won't fit, but these will. So we're just going to go and cut those out. Actually, I have 3 of these little tiny things. I have a glue here. This is the multi-purpose glue, but I find that it's easier. I put mine in a bottle that has a fine point tip on it, and I have more control over it that way than in the great big bottle. And you can find these on Amazon. Okay, so here's a little tag. So now the only thing that I don't have die cut is our label. So I'm going to quickly cut that. And then I will place that on the back of my sheet so that all of them are on one piece of paper. I'm going to share with you another idea that just kind of came to me while I was doing this, because I couldn't find those 2 little dies. Because like I said, sometimes these dies have a mind of their own and they will disappear. So I'm going to attach this one on the back of this sheet. I don't think I have enough room anywhere on the front here, so it wouldn't fit. So I'm just going to attach it here on the back. And I know that this die set has 13 dies. And the reason I know that is because down here at the bottom, it says the quantity is 13. So I know that there should be 13 dies in that set. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to number the dies. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13's on the back. So I will write that number 13 is on the back and put number 13 here. That way, if I were to misplace a die again, I would be able to tell which die I'm missing. Okay, so then I store those on magnet sheets. Now I've run out of big magnet sheets, so we're just going to use these small ones that I have and place them on these magnet sheets, as many as I can, because these are small. And poke out the excess of these dies. Sometimes those little bits don't like to come off. Sometimes I can't tell which is the magnetic side either. There we go. I guess there's an easy way to tell, but so this was just a couple of pieces of magnetic sheet that I cut down in order to put these on a magnet. And it's kind of like a puzzle, if you know what I mean. I have one more here that, let's see how I can get this arranged to make this fit. There we go. And then we just have the little ones that need to find a place for. Can go inside there. Then we have these 3 that are all the same. Makes it nice if you've got duplicates that you can die cut them at the same time. So now I have all 13 magnets, or all 13 dies on my magnet set. I've taken a copy of it, but it's not as good as my cutting them out. And I'm going to put these in my case, my stamp case, along with my sheet of what they're die cut to be. I've labeled the back of them that they coordinate with the Quiet Meadow stamp set. And then eventually, once I get everything done, I'm going to have a binder label here that says Meadow Dies, so that when this is setting up on my shelf with my stamps, then it tells me what they are. So here's another example of one that I did with the Natural Prints dies. And again, I used plain discontinued Stampin' Up! Paper. So here is the design of all of my different dies with this set. And I don't have it on magnet sheet yet. And because this is a wide set, this paper is cut at a little bit different size. But you can measure it. And then you can always just store it right back in that plastic envelope if you don't want to do the expense of the stamp cases. So that is my tip for this week on how to store your dies. I hope that you find this helpful. Leave me a comment if you do. Leave me a comment if you try it, and then I'll know whether or not it's a good tip or not. If you have another way that you would like to share with me that you store your dies, leave that in a comment also. Remember to click the subscribe button in the lower corner here of YouTube. And we will see you next week, February 14th, for another Tuesday Tips and Techniques. Thanks for joining me today. Bye-bye.